Hello, Contrarians, watchers, listeners, subscribers. Here we are with another Contrarians post credits. We had our fun with Casablanca. We did the artsy thing, transitioning out of the summer event, and now we're back to just regular fare,
Back to basics.
back to the mainstream with Miles Teller, with Zac Efron, with Michael B. Jordan, superstar of at least 2 franchises. Imagine you're the star of Creed, the villain in Black Panther, and you look back at your humble beginnings in that awkward moment, and you're
Imogene Poots.
Imogen Poots, but Imogen Poots doesn't have a franchise to her name.
No, but I'd say she's a bigger name now than she was when this came out.
Everybody, yeah. But I think I was singling out Michael B. Jordan because I think he's the only one that has, unless you count like Zac Efron's High School Musical like as a franchise, that could
Fair.
probably keep milking him. Kind of asking him to come back.
Zac Efron's also now would-be awards contender after his dramatic turn in the Iron Claw.
Yes, yeah. That's not a franchise unless, they do
They were.
Yeah, and Miles Teller, I guess, he had a couple false starts. He was in the Fantastic Four, one of the Fantastic Four attempts. He was Reed Richards. He was Mr. Fantastic. And not meant to be. He's not meant to be just your standard hero. Instead, he's supposed to be, a quirky. Is this an indie movie? I was gonna say an indie movie protagonist, but would you say this is like indie? That awkward moment?
No, I think it wants to give the appearance of being so. Well, it's a focus feature, so I guess technically they could get away with saying that, but I think this was kind of in the throes or the death rattle of trying to figure out what like the teen comedy was going to be moving forward. I often cite Sex Drive as like the truly like last great raunchy comedy, like teen comedy type thing, which Sex Drive is fantastic. If you've never seen it, check it out. James Marsden is excellent in it. But I think there was, and of course I'm blanking on them, but there's a few movies you can find like this over the course of the past decade that are kind of trying to find their footing as like, we can still make dick jokes, but then talk about the dynamics of relationships in a very real way. Yeah.
Well, the world was not ready for that awkward moment.
No.
They were not ready for dick jokes that have emotion, real emotion behind them. Because the consensus, the critics' reviews is around 23% on the Tomatometer, and the consensus says formulaic and unfunny, that awkward moment wastes a charming cast on a contrived comedy that falls short of the date movies it seems to be trying to subvert. A very harsh reaction to a
We'll talk about the episode too. Like the cast is obviously not like Zac Efron would have been the get, as we discussed in the episode. Everyone had kind of done their own thing so far, but this is definitely, Imogen Poots had already done that Peter Bogdanovich film, but this would be a much bigger deal if it came out today from a star power perspective.
Re-release that awkward moment. Give it
another shot.
Yeah, give it a 2-week IMAX engagement and just see how it does. Introduction from like the actors, like those Fathom events, and we can make this work. Mackenzie Davis, by the way, she's also in a franchise. I mean, she was in the last chapter of the franchise, but maybe she can claim that she's part of the Terminator franchise.
Yes.
So yeah, all stars all around. But here on this video, yes, if you've watched several of these, we're gonna do a little bit more of what we do on the normal episode. So I'm gonna give you some more Rotten Tomatoes quotes. We're gonna give you a little bit of trivia. We're gonna talk about the trailer and, of course, the Josh Gad Minute. So enough of the intro. Let's get into the quotes. Alex, movie's rotten, so I have 2 rotten quotes. I'm gonna start with Noah Berlatsky from The Atlantic, who says, "In that awkward moment, only men have friends," which suggests that the movie believes, despite its protestations to the contrary, that only men are people.
Ooh. Went forward there. Well, as we discussed over the history of this podcast, all women hate each other. That's a pretty constant narrative driven in movies and pop culture in general. But I'd almost for those who haven't listened to the episode, do so. But I think Julio liked this a bit more than I did. But I would kind of interject and tell that review. It's like, well, the movie's about these three guys, like, and this isn't like, what are they expecting as far as like detailed character and like character development? This movie is what it is, and it's about the friendship of these three guys. It's not like a universe of characters that we're supposed to know the intricacies of.
Yeah, and even then, I would argue.
And how silly would it be if all their girlfriends were friends too?
Right, and but also like they don't have any friends. It's like they have each other and that's it. If that's your read, it was like, who else is Miles Teller hanging out with? He only has Michael B. Jordan and Zac Efron, and the same applies to the other two, right? So they have each other and they have the girls they're dating, and that's it. So it's not like the movie is dehumanizing women in and say that men are the only social creatures in the world. Yeah, it's a point of view. It's such a weird thing to get hung up on. Noah from The Atlantic. Then we have Margot Harrison from 7 Days. VT says Efron says all his cocky asshole lines diligently, but try as he may, he doesn't have a Tucker Max bone in his body. Alex, blast from the past.
I have not heard that name in a long ass time.
But you know Tucker Max.
Yes.
Did you read his book and or watch his movie?
No to both. I remember my cousin, who's a bit older than me, got me one of his books for Christmas one year. Like one of those family members that like doesn't know you at all, just kind of like takes a shot in the dark. And yeah, I didn't read it. I think I read a little bit and I was like, this is not for me.
You just held it like this. Like,
yeah.
Thank you.
Like, oh, were they sold out of socks?
I worked at Barnes & Noble for a few years, and even the cover, I guess he had several, but the one I remember is I Hope They Serve Beer in Hell, which is the name of the movie. Yeah, which I haven't seen, but I Hope They Serve Beer in Hell was, I think, a big seller. At least, we had it everywhere. And I remember just, I don't know if that's Tucker Max on the cover or if it's just some dude that they put on the cover, but I was looking at him because I think he's like, he has his arm around the girl, and I'm like, that guy looks like such an asshole. And the title and I think maybe I read like the back cover, I was like, it's like, I can't believe this shit is selling, blah blah blah. But anyway, there were slow times when you're working at Barnes & Noble where I guess you're supposed to be doing something, but you're like, I'm surrounded by books, I like reading, I'll just read whatever's within reach. And so I found myself reading I Hope They Serve Beer in Hell, and I would say the first like couple of like stories, I was like, exactly what I expected. This guy thinks he's the shit, and I don't think so. I think he's like really annoying, but every now and then I would chuckle. And you keep reading the stories. I kept reading the stories, and either because I didn't have anything else to do or because I actually started like enjoying them. But I remember I was laughing my ass off by the end of it, and to the point where I considered going to see the movie.
Oh,
when
wow.
I saw the trailer. I mean, I don't know now. It's been so long. I don't know if I would read it today and find it funny. But at the time, because there's not, I guess the main difference between what I thought it was going to be and what ended up being is like, I thought it was just going to be all about him being awesome, but there's a lot of self-deprecating stories as you read through. There's one that's basically about him shitting his pants after drinking like a lot, like he doesn't make it to the bathroom, and the description of like the look of shame as he's like walking out of the bathroom and runs into the janitor that's supposed to go and clean. And I remember seeing a shot in the trailer for the movie that was like, oh, that's that story, because he's the guy like running to the bathroom and he's not gonna make it. But then I read that even people that liked the book hated the movie. So like, that doesn't sound like a good idea. So anyway, I wouldn't reread the Tucker Max book. I wouldn't read the new one either. I think that I'm too old for that now. But I totally get like exactly like what you said. I read that quote and was like, oh, I haven't heard that name in a long time. I wonder how Tucker Max is doing.
This is weird, but I have the Wikipedia page pulled up for it now. One of the producers on the film, Richard Kelly. Fascinating.
Yeah, yeah, man, he should have directed the movie. That would have given it some cachet.
That would have been bizarre.
Yeah. Tucker Max fans, don't hate us. We obviously haven't, you know, touched on the author's work in a long time.
Yeah.
Alex's case at all. But I don't know. Is he? Would he belong in the? Man, I would say he would 100% belong in that little trio. He would be the fourth wheel with that awkward moment, guys,
Yeah. Especially Miles Teller's whole approach to at the beginning of this.
at the
until he
beginning of the
finds-
movie. Yeah. The movie would be about Tucker Max also finding his soul. Anyway, now that we've annoyed Tucker Max fans, we can move on to some trailer chatter, Alex. We watched the trailer for that awkward moment.
We did.
What do you think?
It gives away like everything.
The best joke in the movie is there. I told
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, you told me about that, so I was expecting that, but like, yeah, it gives away like everything. It gives away that he hooks up, Miles Teller hooks up with Mackenzie Davis.
That his friends find out.
The big climatic scene on Thanksgiving. They
Yeah.
like spoil that whole thing too. So yeah, it was again, like I said, it was trying to decide what kind of movie it wanted to present itself as. So kind of disjointed trailer, but then having seen the movie, I'm like, yeah, this gives away like all the best stuff.
Yeah, I thought it was funny that they had the little title cards. It's like bonding, regret. There's a moment that changes everything, but they never say that awkward moment. It's like they give a lot of adjectives, but they never use the word awkward, which I thought was kind of a weird. It made me think of the fact that they ended up changing the name for some of the releases and all that stuff. But when it was over, I'm like, if this is what you were looking for in a movie, it does a really good job of selling it to you.
Yeah.
Like giving you like, oh, these are like fun people. If you find these people fun, and like, yeah, I would hang out with them for like 90 minutes and see what happens, right?
See where this all goes.
Yeah, I think it's a big mistake that they give away the Mackenzie Davis and Miles Teller relationship, because that doesn't happen until like halfway through the movie, I feel, and part of the fun is seeing that develop. But
yeah, that's the whole thing. They're like each other's wing people, and then they end up falling for each other. So yeah, kind of you immediately know where it's going to go when you start the movie.
Yeah, I wonder if how people were watching this, seeing Zac Efron, and if this was just a normal the evolution of him as a romantic lead. Before he became Zac Efron, now I'm like a serious actor. I'm gonna play like a serial killer, and then I'm gonna play a wrestler and all that stuff. Because it's like child star, High School Musical, and then there's like a whole bunch of I feel like there's a slew of Zac Efron movies where he's just the kid from High School Musical now in other roles where he's a heartthrob.
That was kind of like Neighbors. That was the appeal of like Zac Efron's gonna say fuck and be in like a raunchy comedy. So.
Yes. Yeah.
From what I recall.
Yeah, Neighbors is good. So I remember that was one of those instances where I was like,
I remember enjoying that. Yeah,
Zac Efron can make me laugh. He was in that Hairspray, and then he was in that Hugh Jackman musical.
Oh, Hairspray is so good.
Yeah,
I don't know what you're talking about with the Hugh Jackman musical.
Yes, you do.
Les Mis.
No,
The Greatest Showman on Earth.
The Greatest Showman.
I didn't know he was in that. All right.
Yeah. He has a pretty good musical number with Hugh Jackman.
Nice.
But so like I think that we saw Zac Efron as that kid that sings and dances, and then slowly faded out of singing and dancing into just being like a funny, affable, like romantic lead, and then but no, he can also be an asshole, and he can be like, he's not playing a nice guy here. Even like when you watch the trailer, you can tell that he's. I don't know. Did you watch this trailer and think that he came across as like the good guy? He was just a bro.
I will tell you from the trailer what I can. The main thing I took away was that he is definitely supposed to be the focus of this movie. And yeah, I think they try to paint him as like the confused and coming, a late 20s coming of age.
Yeah,
it's always funny to me when the coming of age thing is defined as like 13 to 17. It's like, well, I didn't really come of age until my early 30s, so it's he's trying to he's found love, and he's trying to decide what that means for him moving forward, and more importantly, what it means for his friendship with his bros.
Yeah, well, the movie embraces the bro-ness, I think, of the characters. In the trailer does as well, so they're playing fair. But I don't know. I was not tracking Zac Efron's career, so I don't know how this hit his fans. If this was kind of shocking to see, seeing him be this much of an apparent asshole on the screen compared to what he'd done before. Now it's not shocking because we've seen him do all sorts of other things. Matt Seller is always an asshole, so it's not a surprise when Matt Seller is an idiot there. But anyway, fun trailer, gives away too much. I would say if you're planning on watching that awkward moment, don't watch the trailer because some really good jokes are kind of spoiled there, including Alex's favorite joke in the entire movie.
For shame.
Yeah. But anyway, before we go to trivia, Alex, it's time for the Josh Gad Minute. Can Josh Gad play with these boys, or is he going to be on the outside?
I mean, obviously he could. It'd be funny to say, he takes the Michael B. Jordan role, because then it adds like a whole different layer of sympathy to that character. I mean, what are the options here? He can cameo as like one of the dudes at the bar that try to hit on one of the girls.
It would be the one that hits on Imogen Poots at the beginning, right? If we were going to give him that.
Yeah. I mean, you could flip the dynamic, and the Mikey character, Michael B. Jordan, is gay, and his partner or husband leaves him in the beginning of the film, and we replace the woman with glasses as Josh Gad at the bar, and they have a meet cute there.
I thought that you were going to say that Josh Gad was the partner, so that.
Oh man, I didn't even think about that, because then we get dramatic Gad in some aspects. Okay, all right, so we're cooking there. That might be the play, because then otherwise, this movie, to its credit, and much to the chagrin of our first reviewer earlier, it tells you who the main characters are and to focus on them. It doesn't just introduce a bunch of ancillary people. So yeah, so he either takes a role like that, and he would end up replacing Jessica Lucas, or then we risk him just getting kind of lost in the fold.
Yeah, I think that any character that's not part of those like main relationships is going to be just like a one and done. Because I was thinking maybe the realtor that shows Zac Efron and Imogen Poots the house, right? When he steals the key, that could be Josh Gad, but it's just like, he shoots that in like an hour. I really like the idea.
We're completely changing the dynamic of this film, but I think there's some meat on that bone.
Yeah, because then they get to be playful. They hook up at the hospital. Gad with his scrubs, and then they get the big Oscar scene on Thanksgiving. It's good stuff. And then you're like, oh, Josh Gad, you should have done better.
We find the very elusive, detestable Gad. He's not charming. We don't like him in this role.
The Gad that betrays. Yeah. All right. Josh Gad, if you're open to it, when we finally get that awkward moment re-release, we'll digitally insert you in there. And, I guess.
To start like a screening tour where he's just like a part of the panel. It's like, why? Well, there was this idea.
Wait and see. All right. Well, that's enough of the Josh Gad Minute. Alex, what trivia do you have for us?
So that awkward moment, a point of focus and discussion in the actual episode, is that it was a January release, which we all know what that means. January 27th of 2014. A budget of $8 million. Box office return of $40 million. So did all right for itself. Zac Efron was first to be cast. This came with the announcement that the movie would be filmed in New York City. So we don't have to go back too far in time for it used to be better thing to still be relevant if they were shooting a movie like this on location in New York City. Miles Teller joined, Imogen Poots joined, Michael B. Jordan. So it was all locked in by the end of 2012, and they got down to business. One thing we did not watch, Julio, is the Red Band trailer. Are trailers separated any longer by Green Band and Red Band, or
They are, but they will show the red bands now willy-nilly, at least in my experience. Like, I've been surprised sometimes, because it used to be kind of a big deal if you back when.
there would, if I remember correctly, the studio would have to send like specific request or
Yeah,
instruction,
yeah,
like, and it would be like in all caps, include Red Band trailer.
yeah, yeah. I mean, for all we know, maybe they still do, but I just see red trailers play more often. I guess we don't care anymore. Like, you're gonna see it online anyway, so
I feel like every once in a while I'll see like a movie like drop a trailer online and it'll be like Red Band trailer, and I'm like, that's not applicable anymore to what you're saying. It's it's like telling someone to hang up the phone. It's like that doesn't apply to this situation anymore. All right, Julio. This one I wanted to ask you about. Did you ever see Me and Orson Welles?
No, that's Linklater, right?
Is it? It is.
I feel like that's how I
Yeah.
know about that movie, but no, I haven't seen it.
The whole
Does he
point of
play
that
Orson
is
Welles?
Zac Efron.
Yeah.
I guess that I don't know, but the whole point is someone just imagine him in the fucking Nutty Professor suit coming out. The IMDb, most of the time I kind of skip over these, but I thought it was interesting that Zac Efron and Imogen Poots share a scene together in that movie.
Oh.
Which they both would have been pretty young, because that was a mid-2000s film. Mackenzie Davis said she didn't find any of the sex scenes awkward. To her, it's usually pretty fun to make out with someone, so she doesn't mind. That's, I don't know how sanitary takes like that still are, but in Hamlet 2, when they had, Elizabeth Shue plays herself in that movie,
right?
Yeah, and there's a part where they Steve Coogan hosts a Q&A session with his drama students with Shue, and like no one knows who she is, and so someone's just like, "What do you miss about acting?" And she just goes off about making out with actors and like kissing and stuff like that. She's like, "That was the best. All those cute guys, I got to make out with them all the time." So a movie like this too. Let's be honest. This isn't some Lars von Trier real sex type situation. It seems pretty light. So I imagine at that age, and if you're attracted to the person you're working with, it could be fun.
How does Miles Teller's girlfriend feel about this?
Well, that's as a dude, it's part of the job, babe. That's. So I'm glad to hear there was no trauma involved in shooting the sex scenes in this, a la Blue is the Warmest Color and countless other films in the history of the medium. Most of the IMDb stuff is just what I talked about, those facts that aren't really facts. It's or like trivia that's not really trivia.
Yeah.
That Michael B. Jordan and Miles Teller were in another movie together, The Fantastic Four. But the screenplay for this film was featured in 2010 Blacklist as one of the most liked unmade scripts of the year. The premise was inspired by Shakespeare's Love's Labor Lost, which I guess that's a Shakespearean tale I'm not familiar with.
I've heard the phrase. I guess I didn't realize it was a play, but I've heard people say "love's labor." People say like they say it in regular life. I've seen it somewhere.
Yeah. It's
not Hamlet. Speaking of Hamlet 2, Steve Coogan is not working on the adaptation.
Yeah, it's one of those things that I've heard also, and I've always just assumed whoever's using that is smarter than I am, so I just have to pretend like, oh, yeah. Was originally titled "Are We Officially Dating?" and ended up being released under this title in Australia and Indonesia. I believe we touch on that in the episode. And because we can't escape it, Julio, for a kind of closing bit of trivia here, we go to the 2014 MTV Movie Awards.
Yes.
A category that we did not deal with in our summer journey, regrettably. There was a category, Best Shirtless Performance.
That's
And
gold.
we thought they were objectifying humans in the 90s with some of the awards they gave out. To be fair, this still isn't as dangerous as
Most
awarding
desirable.
a 14-year-old Alicia Silverstone as the most desirable female. But so for best shirtless performance, Zac Efron took home the bucket of golden popcorn for that awkward moment. He beat out Sam Claflin for The Hunger Games, Leonardo DiCaprio for The Wolf of Wall Street, Jennifer Aniston for We're the Millers. She doesn't show her boobs in that movie, does she?
She dances. She's a isn't she a dancer in that movie?
She's a stripper, yeah.
But doesn't she have like a big set
Oh,
piece
there's like
with,
a scene where she has to like dance to prove that she's a stripper or something.
I think she's distracting the bad guys.
Yeah. Classic. Well, go off, Queen. Or Queen Rachel there. And then Chris Hemsworth for Thor the Dark World, which is the second one, correct?
Yes. He's shirtless in all of them, though.
Yeah, Zac Efron beating out Chris Hemsworth. That's pretty intense. So this movie did not go awardsless, is what I'm saying here. In keeping with the insanity that is the MTV Movie Awards, I feel compelled to read out the the best film category. The Hunger Games ended up winning, beating out The Wolf of Wall Street, American Hustle, The Hobbit, Desolation of Smaug, and 12 Years a Slave. We randomly landed upon this and have no context or history of our podcast. We recently did a journey in which we chronicled the 90s by way of the MTV Movie Awards, and we found that typically the best movie category was unpredictable in so many ways. And they kept that through, at least through 2014, so God bless.
What's the director of who's the director of 12 Years a Slave?
Steve McQueen.
Steve McQueen. Can you imagine Steve McQueen? Yeah.
The MTV Movie Awards, I remember when he won the Oscar for it, he seemed pretty cool because like he was doing that, whoa, like he was really excited. I was like, good for you, man. He didn't do the fucking Tom Hooper climax in his seat. So no other nominations that year for that awkward moment. Again, this is blending 2013 and 2014 because I'm seeing like nominations for movies from both years. It's surprising to think that like Spring Breakers didn't dominate, but
they were trying to figure out what it was.
Exactly, like a lot of people that movie was about, they watch and go, I don't get it. So that awkward moment. I'm trying to think if there's anything else here we should touch on. I think this isn't like a movie that's rich with history. So, the lore that's out there about it isn't as deep as, The Matrix or some of the other films we've covered recently. So, but that is, a little food for thought and a little trivia on that awkward moment. And I think we end the episode on a note of recommendation. Light, but a note of recommendation.
I mean, if you're going to like this type of movie, you might find them insufferable, like the characters, and then there's no point in you sitting down and watching them. But that's kind of like that. If you like it, it's going to be because, like us, you kind of see past their initial flaws and just enjoy the banter and the chemistry. And they'll arguably end up better people by the end. So, they're not Tucker Maxes. As much as that quote would have you believe. I think one of the reasons to watch it is if you're a fan of one or more of the people in the cast, to see them back in the day before they were just at the level that they are now. That's always kind of fun. But that's it. That's it for that awkward moment. Coming up next, big swerve to a completely different genre. Completely different kind of a star in the making as Arnold Schwarzenegger returns to the Contrarians, but this is pre-Terminator Arnold. This is the early days when he was shirtless. He could have gotten an MTV Movie Award for it, and he played Conan the Barbarian in 1982. Yep. Arnold with swords, shields, James Earl Jones as the main bad guy with a horrible
Long
hairdo.
hair. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. Check that out. It's fresh. So, of course, we're going to be very nitpicky about it in Contrarians Corner, and then we'll tell you how we really feel. But check out That Awkward Moment. Check out Conan the Barbarian. Check out the next episode. Thank you for watching, and we'll talk to you again soon.